You know, what's funny is a lot of people would come out to an area like where I'm at right now. It's pretty remote. It's actually really tough to get in. You really do need a four-wheel drive. I mean, most of the roads are okay, and you could probably make it with a high clearance vehicle or something that wasn't four-wheel drive, just a regular truck. But if the weather kind of turned on you or something like that, you definitely would need a four-wheel drive. But you know, one of the things is when you come out to a remote place like this, and unless you've got solar or wind power, and then you're probably going to need batteries to back that stuff up, or you got to have a generator, which means you got to lug in fuel or store a lot of fuel. If you're doing propane, you got to haul that stuff in, and it's a lot more difficult than people think. A lot of people are kind of have the dream, I guess you say, of, boy, I'll go out in the woods and I'll have my cabin and it'll be remote. And the problem with being remote is, of course, well, that you're remote. It's if you get hurt, or if you need to go get something, if you don't have it right there with you and you can't make it, you're out of luck. One of the things about the cabin up here where I'm staying at now is, you know, you sort of have to bring in everything. You got to bring in food and water and all that stuff. And I've seen a lot of people that, you know, they have the dream, and they won't even go remote, but they'll have a cabin up in the woods that they can still get to, and it may even have power and running water and sewer and all that stuff, septic maybe. But instead of getting like a little getaway cabin, something that's maybe 800-900 square feet, they insist on getting a second home, basically. And then what happens is they find that they become a slave to that thing, and something that was supposed to be fun for them and a getaway has become a burden. It's become a millstone around their neck. And I think that's why you see a lot of these mountain properties up here. They kind of go for sale after the owner that maybe either built it, or the ones that actually understood the amount of work it was going to take and took care of the stuff. Once those, maybe they hand them down to their kids start to come up and they're like, oh my gosh, this is a hell of a lot of work. I'm not going to do this. It's not worth it. And then eventually the cabin and the property or wherever it is falls into disrepair. And especially you see that in things where you are remote, because it is so hard to get things in there. So if you are thinking about getting a cabin or buying one, I'd suggest maybe you find a rental that you can do, or find some friends that have one, and kind of, if they'll be honest with you and let you know how much work it actually is, get with them before you make that big outlay of cash and money. And you know, I will say one thing: if it's a property where you're going to go up there and you're going to live and you're going to be there pretty much full time, you know, then again, I don't know how remote you can afford to be.